All right, today we're going to talk about a really big shift in how we think about personal care. I mean, it's a move away from just, a simple to-do list, and it's a move towards something much deeper, a collaborative way of thinking that totally redefines what it means to support someone.
So, what does great care actually look like? I mean, really. Is it just about checking boxes, making sure meds are taken, meals are on the table, appointments are kept? Or is there something more profound at the heart of it all? That's really the core question we're going to dig into.
Okay, this contrast right here gets right to the heart of the whole thing. The old way, what we call provider-driven care, it's all about tasks. It asks, what's the matter? But this new idea, person-centered care, well, it just flips the script completely. It focuses on goals and values, and it asks a much more powerful question: what matters to you?
And you know what? That simple change in the question, it leads to a whole new philosophy of care. It's a huge shift, really, removing from doing things for someone to doing things with them. It's about building a real partnership, one that's based on shared goals and, just as important, mutual respect.
So how does this philosophy get put into practice? Well, it's actually a pretty simple but totally revolutionary idea. The person is the plan. That's it. Their goals, their wants, their own definition of what a good life looks like. That becomes the actual blueprint for their care.
So if we were to put a more formal definition on it, person-centered care is basically an approach that puts a person's unique needs, their preferences, their values, and their goals right at the front and center of everything. It's all about recognizing that, hey, every single person is the true expert on their own life.
Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, right? But what does it actually look like in the real world? To make this really tangible, let's meet Maria. Her story is the perfect example of how this whole philosophy translates into actual action.
So this is Maria. She's 67, and she's recovering from a pretty serious fall. Now, when her care manager asked her what mattered most, this is what she said. And I want you to notice something here. She didn't say, I need physical therapy 3 times a week. No, she talked about a feeling, about a quality of life, and that is the starting point.
But here's the challenge, right? A feeling isn't a plan. Feeling like I'm living again, that's an incredibly powerful goal, but it's not something you can just do. It's not actionable by itself. So how does a caregiver or care manager take this really beautiful human hope and turn it into something real, something concrete?
Well, the answer lies in a framework that's been proven to work time and time again: SMART goals. This is how you turn that powerful hope into an actual plan. So first, the goal has to be specific, like, say, walking 300 steps on her own. Then it has to be measurable, so maybe tracking that walk 3 times a week. It's got to be attainable, right? You start small and you build up. Of course, it has to be relevant to her overall health. And finally, it's time-bound, with clear check-in points to see how she's doing.
But look, helping Maria walk again, that's just one piece of the puzzle. For her to truly feel like she's living again, the care has to go way beyond just one physical goal. You have to support the whole person.
And that foundation, it always starts with physical safety. This is the practical, non-negotiable stuff. Things like getting rid of trip hazards, putting in grab bars, making sure the lighting is good. It's all about creating a safe and secure environment where that recovery can actually happen in the first place.
But, and this is so important, a safe home just isn't enough. A person can be totally safe physically, but still feel completely isolated, lonely, and unfulfilled. And let's be honest, that is not living again.
And this is exactly why the best care plans always address the social and emotional side of things too. The questions become different. They're things like, is Maria staying connected with her friends? What activities actually bring her joy? How can we help support her independence and preserve her dignity? Answering these questions, that's every bit as important as her physical recovery.
So if you're caring for the whole person, their physical safety, their emotional needs, their social life, the whole shebang, how on earth do you manage all that? Well, the answer is you don't do it alone. It takes a team. Person-centered care is, at its heart, a collaborative effort.
All right, let's look at another example to see how this team thing works in action. Let's meet James. James is 72. He's living with early-stage Parkinson's, and his main goal is crystal clear. He wants to stay independent in his own home for as long as he possibly can.
So working with his care manager, Aisha, James figured out 3 specific goals that really defined what independence meant to him. Number 1, maintaining his home. Number 2, continuing to go to his weekly church gatherings. And number 3, just staying on track with all his medical appointments and medicines. Simple as that. That's his plan.
Now, to make these goals happen, a whole team rallies around James. And he's right there in the middle, calling the shots on what matters. But just look at this network. His care manager coordinates everything. His doctor handles the meds, a home health nurse does checkups. There's even an LTSS provider, that's long-term services and supports, who helps set up practical stuff like meals and rides. But what's really amazing to me is that the team even includes his neighbor. It just goes to show you that great care is this web of both formal and informal support, all pulling in the same direction.
Okay, so you've got all these people involved. Doctors, nurses, neighbors, everyone. The whole system really relies on just one thing to work: clear and constant communication. Honestly, it's the glue that holds the entire team together and makes sure that nothing important falls through the cracks.
And all of this, it brings us to the ultimate goal of this whole philosophy. Because it isn't just about getting better health outcomes or being more efficient. It's about something much, much deeper. It's about the dignity of care.
You see, this way of thinking completely transforms the role of a caregiver. They're no longer just a service provider who's there to tick off a list of tasks. They become a supportive partner, a collaborator who is helping that person achieve what actually matters most to them.
So, let's bring it all home. The ultimate goal here isn't just to keep someone safe, fed, and medicated. It's to help them live a life that is vibrant and meaningful to them on their own terms. That, right there, is the real promise of person-centered care.
And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. This philosophy, it's not just for professionals. I mean, in our own lives, with our families, our friends, are we just jumping in to solve their problems? Or are we actually taking the time to stop and truly understand what matters most to the people we care about?